and certainly gave me a sense of pride to be a part of a wonderful, great county, Wilkes County, and just marvel at the thoughts of the many different talents. And not just talent, but the commitment that these people have made to their profession, which has been agriculture. I start by saying to you that the Wilkes Agricultural Hall of Fame recognizes young citizens, or not young citizens, but all citizens, for superior contributions and outstanding leadership in agriculture and agricultural related fields. Knowing the importance of agriculture, members of the agricultural community established the Wilkes County Agricultural Hall of Fame in 2004. 21 recipients have received this prestigious award since that time. The Wilkes County Agricultural Hall of Fame Award is given to recognize outstanding accomplishments and to create further awareness of the importance of agriculture to Wilkes County, to our state, and also to our nation. It serves to motivate others to become leaders and make contributions in the field of agriculture. A request for nominations is made each year in the news media. Any individual, family member, or organization may submit a nomination. All nominations are read, they're scored, and they're ranked by an independent panel of readers. And that I'm saying these people, this group of readers are people that are not on the board, but they score each application. And then it's submitted to the board for the board's consideration. This evening, 2023 inductee who will be placed in the Wilkes Agricultural Hall of Fame will be given a plaque recognizing his accomplishments. The Hall of Fame Award will be displayed in the Wilkes County Agricultural Center beside of others who have received this honor. And for those of you who want to know where that is, it's right outside this door, right out there on the wall. You may have seen it coming in. Perry Lowe III has been chosen this year because of his contributions to the apple industry. Perry is a fifth-generation orchardist and is assisted by his children who are of the sixth generation. In 1900, Perry's great-grandfather began farming apples, and for 123 years since that time, 6 generations of the Lowe family have carried on the apple farming tradition. There are many fine things that can be said about Perry III, or Ty as he prefers, as well as his family. According to his wife, Katrina, who has been with him since high school, he has learned not only the skills needed for growing apples, but he has a true love for it. He feels a love for the land that God has shared with him and the privilege of growing food for his friends, family, and neighbors. He lives his life in the apple orchard. He works in the orchards. He spends time with his children. He praises God throughout the year and lives each day thankful for another day in the apple orchard. He graduated summa cum laude from North Carolina State University in 1985. Had a degree in horticulture. He was blessed with professors who continue to be friends and advisors in the orchard. Using the knowledge he received and the willingness to give many hours of hard work, he has made many contributions to agriculture. In Wilkes County, he has attempted to stay on the cutting edge of technology by choosing what was best for his orchards. In 1993, he was one of the first to plant all new orchard plantings on a trellis system. This increased yield and made it easier to care for than the previous methods that had been used. He continues to introduce new varieties of apples to Wilkes County, which has produced a positive response from his customers. He's the only apple grower in Wilkes County who pasteurizes his own apple cider. He built his own dehydrator, and he sells his own dried apples throughout North Carolina at various outlets. He's involved in various civic organizations and active in the North Carolina Apple Growers Association, where he has served as a president and vice president. And he is a lifetime member of that organization, which was awarded in 1996. As I said earlier, many good things can be said about our nominee, but I will end by using a quote that has been used by Ty many times when speaking of his children. And I quote, "I consider my greatest accomplishment being the passing of love for apple growing to my children." At this point, I think to add to this, we have some people that want to be a part of the program because of their love and respect and appreciation they have for Ty and his family. And at this time, I'm going to call on Dr. Mike Parker, if you will, to come forward.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm going to actually use notes. Can you believe it? And I may read from them. My name is Mike Parker. I am the Tree Fruit Extension Specialist at North Carolina State University. I work out of Raleigh, work across the state. I started here in 1989, and one of the first calls that I had was getting in a pickup truck riding around an orchard where trees had been blown like tumbleweeds after Hugo had went through. I couldn't believe it. I was coming from Michigan, a Yankee, and we'll just leave it at that. I'd never seen winds like that, to see the kind of damage that was done. So again, in preparation for these comments, I went and looked at your records. He was in our department at NC State. He graduated in 1985. You were on the dean's list every semester, with the exception of one. As we look at that, that's quite an accomplishment. To go through NC State, he was an excellent student. Then he came back to Wilkes County. He and Katrina, I think the day they came back in, there was a hailstorm that took out a major portion of the crop. And again, if you're not involved in the apple production, tree fruit production, as far as I'm concerned, I'm a biased individual. It's one of the hardest crops to deal with. You've got one shot at that crop. You get a frost or freeze that takes out blossoms. You get a hailstorm that takes out the crop. You're in trouble. You've got another 18 months before you can pick again. So Ty's had this opportunity to deal with these coming back with a hailstorm. Again, sometimes people just sort of pack it up. If you look at the issues that he's had to deal with, and again, I think the biggest one is the passing of his father. If you look at his father, most of us learn a lot of from our fathers, but the untimely passing, Ty was thrown into the driver's seat of 120 acres of orchards. That's tough. But again, through all of this, he has persevered. Being a hard worker, a man of deep faith, he has been successful in what he's done. And I guess I need to also come in and talk about, we're talking about Ty, but he's the 5th generation apple growers, standing on the shoulders of those before him, but also taking along those coming behind. And I think it's important. We want to talk about the legacy, the Lowe's legacy, and that does not diminish at all from what Ty has done. But I guess I look at what Ty has done, and we'll talk about a few of those things. I think the program is pretty self-explanatory. A lot of things there, a lot of pictures there. As we go through, when I look at someone in a position, I look at their service. To me, service says an awful lot about an individual. Service for their industry, service for their fellow man, and Ty's life has exemplified that. He's got local service with the Farm Bureau. He works with the Cooperative Extension Office. You talked about working with the North Carolina Apple Growers. It's a statewide organization. Ty has been involved with that for many years. I believe you had 3 terms as president, and I'm surprised that you still talk to me. Do you remember when, again, I was the educational advisor with the Apple Growers Association. We had a meeting that people did some unseemly things. And again, I just can't tolerate that. No, I just can't do it. I'll have to write a letter and get the board to come behind and support it. So I wrote a letter and basically had the growers sign it, Lowe, president. And Ty called me and says, Mike, he said, had an issue. I had one of the individuals that called me. I said, well, the letter was accurate, wasn't it? He says, yeah, but the problem was we sent it to the homes and their wives opened the letters. He still talked to me after that. He never rolled over on me, but I will never forget that time, several years ago. So again, he was president of the association, the national organization for the apples. It was International Apple Institute. It's now the U.S. Apple. Ty was on the board of directors for that. So he has had many different, I guess, opportunities for service for the apple industry. And again, you also look at service. Service also starts at home. It starts at home with the family and with the community. And Ty has also he's been a husband, father, and I think that has helped to build a business, in my opinion. So again, those things, I guess, I was looking there as we went through. But now, how many of you know where again, I learned some things working with the Lowes, and how many of you know where the first agricultural research station in North Carolina was? Anybody know where it's at?
Fords Knob.
What's that?
Fords Knob.
Fords Knob, is that what it's called? It's just, it's for sale. I noticed it was for sale today, and what'd you call it, a hut? It's it's important, I think, for Wilkes County especially. If we look at the research that was done for apples, that was it was a federal base, if you will, to do apple research. They did a lot of research. I think most of the research was done in the Lowe's orchard. In fact, there's a couple orchard blocks, Van Diemen. That was the name of the scientist there. So, and again, if you go and type into the Google search, type in Wilkes County Agricultural Research, it will show you a picture of spraying that was being done in 1940. But to jump off on that, we have to realize is that where the Lowes and Ty specifically now, they've allowed us at the university to put demonstration plots in their orchard. That sounds nice, doesn't it? What that means is that we will allow you to grow the apples. We will put treatments in that may or may not be successful. And over the years, we talked about the mating disruption. Did Jim ever fall down on that?
Yes.
Mating disruption is messing with the sex life of the insects, if you will, but if you mess up, those insects reproduce and they damage your crop. And that's happened several times. With Dr. Dick Unrath had done a lot of growth regulators. I believe George Rock had done insects. Jim Wagenbach. You'll see a picture up here. One of the first demonstrations, high density, was in the Lowe's orchard. Some of the apple growers in this area still make fun of that, the way those trees look. But they have been working with the university to help develop strategies that have and are benefiting the apple growers in the area. Many people are not willing to do that because there is risk. But I think, Ty, over the years, it's been a great relationship that you have supported the research in North Carolina to develop research that benefits the apple growers in the state. And I think that's something to be commended. So again, I will conclude with that probably as I went through and looked at some of these things. Now, you also have some of the things up there. How many of you can juggle? Anybody here juggle?
Ty taught me to juggle.
Did he teach you to juggle? I have tried and I've never gotten it. But the thing is, if you look at it, how many of you have seen Ty juggle? Okay? And again, the kids love it. But again, you have to also realize that we had an apple meeting in Nashville, and all the apple growers, I had Ty come up and juggle in front of the apple growers. But it's not enough to juggle the apples. You have to juggle and eat the apples as you're juggling. That was quite a feat. My wife went with me to that year, and she says, that's pretty impressive. She's also a dietitian, and she also says, he ate 3 desserts. As we went through. So again, I will conclude with that. And again, let me read my summary of basic paragraphs. I'm honored and privileged to be able to provide a few comments on the induction of Perry Ty Lowe into the Wilkes County Agricultural Hall of Fame. I believe Ty has provided superior contribution and outstanding leadership in agriculture, and his work has benefited the agricultural community while improving the quality of life of Wilkes County. So Ty, congratulations. It's great to be here. I consider you to be a friend. I consider the family to be a friend, and you all are setting a legacy going forward. So thank you.
All right, Ellie Snyder. I believe I got it wrong. See you. I'm sorry.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ellie Snyder. I'm a former cooperative extension agent here in Wilkes County, and I had the opportunity to get to know Ty while working as the county agent here. I was just here for a short time, but I can't think of anyone that I worked with in this county more deserving of the award, so I'll just start out with that. Anyone who's worked in cooperative extension knows that you get the privilege of working with everybody in the community, and Ty is the type of grower that motivates a county agent to drive into work each day. So not only has he taken the time to follow current research and apply new practices in his operation, he also, as was said, considers what can benefit his industry and community as a whole. Ty has a deep understanding of how cooperative extension works and can serve growers. And in working with him, I became a better extension agent, and I feel that any agent that gets to work with him gets to experience that as well. In addition to his adoption of progressive practices in the orchard, he may be the only apple grower in this area with whom you can have an in-depth discussion about the nuances of software for different weather station companies. He's a talented grower, and he's got, as was said before, many different interests and talents that have served him in his profession. I had the opportunity to get to know his family through working with them, and one thing that impresses me is that I've been able to witness the next generation really step in. They're building upon the foundation that Ty demonstrated and built for them, and they've been able to start taking their business in directions that will provide for their families going forward. So this type of transition isn't easy for any family to navigate, but I feel confident that for this family, the next generation has been set up for success. So congratulations to Ty. It's well deserved.
All right, our next speaker is Wes Tuttle. Wes, you want to come forward?
Like Mr. Davis said, my name is Wes Tuttle. I'm a retired soil scientist. Worked 37 years for USDA, and one of my first experiences I thought was very interesting. We moved here in 1987, and we went up on a mountain. I was always intrigued with brushy mountains. And I went up there, and one of the first places I went was right up there on the orchard. And I went in there and went up there and got to talking. And Ty's dad, Perry Jr., was up there, and the first thing he says, "Come on in here." So I came in there, and he says, "Here, have an apple." And I thought, that's really neat, if you're going to do the country way. I was born and raised in the country, and that's how you treated somebody. And from then on, we went up on the orchard, we looked at the stuff. And as a soil scientist, what you do, you bore holes, you see how deep it is to bedrock, look at different places, and hope that the maps that you're producing is something that the folks can use. And the whole time we were up there, just got this sense of a family. And the bottom line is, when you get to working with people, it gets to be through relationships. You get to think about relationships, people can be stronger in the work, and everybody's worked with somebody before, and then they're really sharp. But when you put sharpness together with working with people with communications and people that have skills that you appreciate being around with. The communications, and it starts with the family, and then it reaches out. Been fortunate enough to coach in baseball with Ty. And Ty, actually, we were looking at the baseball team up there. We were talking about maybe forming it. Ty's got some fellow friends over here who actually play high school baseball with. And that's the thing about, you make a lot of people, when you get together, it's communications, and then it's forming relationships with people. So as you're working, you're out there working, and you have a working relationship, and if you got a good relationship, talking with people. But that stuck in my mind as I went up there, and that's how I got introduced to the family. And what Ty's done, the family's still in there. I mean, you talk about 4 or 5 generations of apple growers. That always intrigued me. I had to do the history of Wilkes County when I got to looking at the apple growers and stuff. And I think this is one of the first, correct me, Bill, if I'm right, but one of the first apple growers, orchardists to be inducted into this. And I think something needs to be said about that, because nectarines and apples and all the fruits like that have been really important for Wilkes County for many years. And I think it's a great thing for Ty to be inducted. And Ty will be one of the first ones to tell you this is a family operation. It takes everybody kicking in and everybody doing their part. And I just say, and the diversity. The other thing about they've opened up a U-Pick, and the first time I was involved with that type of situation was you go up in the mountains to the Fraser Fir Christmas trees, and people are having cut your own, choose and cut. And so I related that when I got to thinking, families go up there for years and for years and years. And because it's not just cutting a tree, and it's not just picking some apples, you go up there and it becomes a family. So you involve the family once again. Gets back to the communications, get back to the relationships. And you can be a successful businessman, but Ty, you look around here and all the friends you have and stuff like that, everybody thinks the world of you, and well deserved. So I'm glad to be able to say a few things just to say thank you, and a great contribution, and very, very well deserved. So how about a hand for Ty? I just want to keep it short and sweet, and see who else. Just want on a personal side. I know Ty professionally, from the soil science side of when we've been working on the farm, and also from a personal side. And I'm glad to have you as a friend and know the family too. So thank y'all.
Are there others that would like to make a comment or say something about Ty at this time? All right, we'll ask Perry the fourth.
Thank you all for coming tonight. I am Ty's son. I came home to work on the farm 7 years ago. So you could say me and him know each other maybe a little too well. Agriculture is a profession that requires a lot of things. One of them being is teaching the next generation to do what you did and better. Tonight I'm going to share some lessons I've learned on the farm with Dad. The first is be patient. He often tells me Rome wasn't built in a day. The second is OSHA doesn't visit farms very often. Let's get the job done. Third one is cussing does take the pain away a little faster on farm. And the fourth one is I'm starting to realize it a little bit more because I'm about to be a girl dad in February. And if your son-in-law does come back to the farm and there is an electric fence that needs to be tested, encourage him to do it instead of yourself. But in all seriousness, I've watched my dad work tirelessly my whole life, and he deserves all the awards. accept retirement. We're gonna need you back at work tomorrow. So. But seriously, thank you all for the support of him and our business. So thank you guys.
Ty wants to make some comments, so we're gonna let him come forward at this point, and after that, we'll make the award.
Yeah, I got a call from a friend the other day, said, "Are you excited about this?" And I said, "I'm excited, but I'm very humble about it." And, you know, with agriculture, if you're not humble, you will be humbled sooner or later with the weather and everything. But anyway, I'd like to thank the award committee for choosing me, and it's a real honor. And the event, thanks for everybody for coming. It's just a big honor for me to be up here tonight and to receive this award. And like I said, I am truly humbled to get this award, but it's easier to accept the award when I get to thank all the people that helped me along in this operation and getting this and being able to achieve this award. And so I'm going to start off with my grandfather, Perry Lowe Sr., who had the vision to purchase the land that we're on. It is a beautiful place, as my son has pointed out many times, and my daughters. It is a beautiful place, and without that insight, I don't think we would ever been there. And one thing that always stood for my grandfather, I was very young when he passed away, but everybody always told me that if he always had something good to say about everybody, and if he did, and his theory was if you didn't have something good to say about somebody, you just don't say it. So that's one thing I took from my grandfather, Perry Lowe Sr. And then my other grandfather, I don't know, this is probably going to shock people, but my granddad Clark was also an apple orchardist up in Miller's Creek. And just a couple things, if anybody ever visited that orchard, I know some of his grandkids are up here. He had the cleanest orchard that I've ever witnessed. And I've been across the United States and seen orchards, but he kept his orchard clean. And another thing I took from my granddad Clark was his work ethic. It was just unbelievable at his age being able to take care of the orchard. And I don't know the exact time when he retired from taking care of the orchard, but I know that he worked many long and hard hours taking care of the orchard. So there's no doubt that my granddad Clark was a part of this. And then we also get to some of the others in the Clark family that made a contribution to our organization or to our business, and that would be my Aunt Kate and Uncle Fred, who Uncle Fred designed the first logo with the White Lightning brand of Perry Lowe Orchards, which we still use today. And then how talented the family was I asked Aunt Kate, I said, "Listen, I want an apple with our name in it." That's all I told her. And so she came up with our logo, Perry Lowe Orchards, in there. And so we still use that today, and my wife made sure we got it trademarked. So, you know, that is big when you're doing, you gotta have a logo. And so that came from family too. And then, this is hard here, but you know, you gotta thank my father, Perry Lowe Jr. And I can't thank enough, but he was a great father. Not only was a good father, but he also shared his love and passion for growing apples with me. And that love and passion kept me going through the hard years. So, Perry Lowe Jr., my father, I gotta thank him. And then my mother, Shirley Lowe, she was amazing. And like I said, she was my business partner after my father died in 1990 for 27 years. And her smiling face at the retail store, I'm still today, I get people coming into the store and saying, "I miss your mother," and she always had a conversation with me. So that speaks a lot about her. And now, get to a little bit easier part, but a very important part. You know, to grow apples or any type of farming, you have to have a network. And we're very fortunate in North Carolina to have a great network for growing apples, and that would be the research extension, also NC State. NC State, even as small as North Carolina is, we have an apple research, what I call our apple research team, which Mike mentioned several people, but we've worked very careful along with them in trying to make our products safer and better, and it's just, you just can't get enough to say how important that the research apple team has been to our farm and to other apple farmers too. I will say that around the state and also in Wilkes County. So definitely have to give a big thanks to the Apple research team and also to the extension, which includes Ellie and Lenny Rogers and Bill Hamlin. There's just a lot of people that's been in our operation that's helped us not only through the research and helping to advance our crop, but also for safety protocols. So I want to say a big thanks for that. And then I do have to say a special thanks to Mike Parker. You got up here, you got to hear him talk, and he's just so passionate of a speaker, and also how he relates his research to the growers. It's just hard to describe that, but Mike, you've been a good friend for the family, and an important part of me is going into high density. I don't think I'd ever got there without you coming along and giving the passion for the industry and also for the Apple Growers Association. Also in the Growers Association, many years you spent with the Apple Growers Association, helping the communities and everything. Like I said, you've been a great help to our farm and to our family. So, and I just can't say enough of that. Also, there's a lot of apple growers too that, we receive calls, and I've also extended calls out. So our apple grower farmers around here, everybody's important. It is a community that helps each other out too. So the apple growers, I have to say thank you that are here, and also that are in other places. And then another important thing is thank you for my friends, because the friends help y'all along. I grew up with Frank over here and Ricky and Tim Parsons, and y'all have just been great friends, and I can't say enough how you've helped me in my life. So thank you so much. And there's somebody else sitting here, and I can't recognize everybody, but I don't know, as my son says, we do have a few breakdowns once in a while. And Perry says, what do we do? I said, well, just call Wade, he'll help us. So Wade Fortner, you've been a big part of our farm, sir, and I really appreciate you. It's been a big help. Thank you so much. And then, like I said, I also like to thank our employees and too that have been around, but employees are basically family for us too, but we do have employees, and so thanks for all the employees that's helped me to continue this generation going on. And also, I got to thank my family, sitting right here in front of me. As you know, a few years ago I had a stroke that really kept me from farming. Well, I'd done a lot of backup plans in my life, but I didn't have me backed up. I didn't realize that my backup plan for my farm was my family. They took over and have done a great job. So got to thank my family for this award for sure. And then, started just not say this, but I had to. I got to thank my wife. I don't know. Somebody remind me. Everybody loves Raymond and how he did it. He received something and he didn't think his wife when he got home. Said, Mike mentioned a couple of those tough years. Well, I had somebody to stand by me in those tough years, and I also told her it was going to be all right. So we did it together, and so I have to thank her. I just don't know how to say enough thanks for that. And then to end, most importantly, I'd like to thank God because for giving me the opportunity to farm the land that I live on. It's been a tremendous opportunity, and He has been faithful to me, through the storms, and also faithful during the good times, which you always try to look. I heard one person win an award and said the windshield's a lot bigger than the rearview mirror. God's helped me look through the windshields to the rearview mirror, so for sure. But just thank everybody for coming out tonight, and thank you for this award. It's a big honor for me. Thank you so much.
All right, I'd like for Ty and his wife and family to come up on the podium here, and we'll get a picture and we'll make the award. Okay? You can come right here and come here too. Well, that's all. Okay. And everybody needs to get to where you can be seen, so that when you get this picture done, you'll be in there.
We're trying to get that projector.
I would like to read to you, I think you saw it in the program, but I think that you will see here, and this is what will be hanging out in the hall. This one goes home with the Lowe family. But it says, Mr. Ty Lowe is a North Carolina State University graduate with a Bachelor of Science degree in Horticultural Sciences. He and his father, Perry Lowe Jr., owned one of the first orchards in this area to implement integrated pest management, begin high-density planting, drying his own apples, including a variety selection, design his own website, and he is the only one in our area who pasteurizes and presses his own apple cider, including specialty ciders. He expanded the orchard from 20,000 to 40,000 trees and from 4 to 30 varieties. For 38 years, provided apple orchard field trips to thousands. The family orchard is a tradition that has been handed down through 5 generations, and his greatest accomplishment is passing down a love for apple farming to his children. The International Apple Institute, U.S. Apple Association, the North Carolina representative from 1992 to 1997, honorary lifetime member of the North Carolina Apple Growers Association, Apple Grower of the Year for the North Carolina Apple Growers Association in 2001. The North Carolina Association served 3 terms as president, most recently 2020-2022, as well as served on the board and other various committees. Niles, we're so happy to present this to you and to your family, and thank you so much. This time, our director for the Division of Wilkes Soil and Water Conservation Districts will come forward and make some comments, and that will conclude our program.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. I'm Rob Baldwin. I'm the district director here at Wilkes Soil and Water Conservation District. The very prolific farmer and environmental philosopher Wendell Berry wrote these words about the family farm. They love to live where they work and to work where they live. If the scale of their farming is adequate, they like to work in the company of their children and with the help of their children. They love the measure of independence that farm life can still provide. That accurately describes the Perry Lowe Orchard farm family. They're the quintessential family farm. Tonight, we not only celebrate Mr. Ty Lowe, but we also celebrate the community cohesiveness, which is obviously a large part of Ty Lowe's philosophy and business model. The last thing I would like to say tonight is thank you, Ty Lowe and the Perry Lowe Orchard family. Thank you, professionally and personally. Thank you for being stewards of land and the orchard business. And thank you for being champions of the farm family. Before we conclude tonight, the Ag Hall of Fame ceremony, please take your programs and turn them over, and you'll see our sponsors. If you are lucky enough to have a red dot next to the sponsorship, then you win some Ty Lowe Perry Lowe apples, and you can have the basket too. Thank you everyone for coming tonight. We appreciate your support, and have a good night and a safe ride home. Thank you.